Okay, so let's start with those things: accountability, duties, and authority. Although I'm going to turn it into four now. So accountability is ambiguous between two things, right? It's ambiguous between responsibility, in which you're held, you're said to be guilty or worthy of praise for something, and punishment or reward. Okay, so you can be held accountable in both senses of that word, and we have to take them separately because they're actually separate. So let's talk about responsibility first. Just like when we were talking about virtues, the moral virtues were just a special case of human virtue. So I think moral responsibility is a special case of just this general notion of responsibility. So let's talk about that. So in general, being responsible for something, you are responsible for something if it was up to you that thing happened. Right, so you're the one who brought it about. That's what makes you responsible. And typically people will say that your responsibility for something is proportional somehow to your knowledge or your understanding, or at least your capacity for knowledge and understanding in that circumstance. And I think the idea here is that something can't be up to you if you don't actually understand what you're doing, right? Like it wasn't really you doing it; it was something else. So generally, I guess the working out of this is we hold adults more responsible than children, and children more responsible than pets, and pets more responsible than, I don't know, cactuses or something, right? Because they don't understand it. Or rocks. Okay, so that's the first thing. How we get to morality is like this. Traditionally, humans have been understood to be what's called rational animals. Okay, and by this I don't mean that we're particularly rational people all the time, because we're not. Okay, we're often irrational. Roughly what I mean by rational is that we have this capacity to grasp and be conscious of universal concepts that particular things fall under. Okay, so we have a particular human like Mary. Okay, and we have this universal concept humanness that Mary and Walter and David all fall under. All animals are conscious of particular things like this or that apple or this or that tree or whatever, but rational animals are those animals who are also capable of seeing the universal things that these things fall under. So they can see treeness and they can see appleness. I mean, they don't see it in the same way, but they grasp it. With this ability to grasp universal concepts, we also are able to grasp things like goodness and evil, like the natural goodness and evil that we were talking about, both for ourselves and for others. And because of this, and now I've lost where I was. Oh, okay. Because of this additional sort of understanding, we are proportionally more responsible for our actions. And this additional layer of responsibility roughly corresponds to the moral responsibility or the moral dimension in our actions. So if we were to say it in a fancy sentence, we could say an action is morally good or evil to the extent that the end or means willed in it are naturally good or evil. Okay, let me illustrate with an example. Imagine I grew up with one leg, either because of genetic defect or because of an accident that was beyond my control. This would be a natural evil, because it would go contrary to my development process. But it wouldn't be a moral evil, well, at least not for me, because it wasn't up to me that it happened. However, if I grew up with two legs and then cut my own leg off, this would be both a natural evil and a moral evil, because it was because of my will that my leg is gone, that this natural evil was incurred. And so that's what we mean by moral responsibility. That's what we mean by moral responsibility. What? Oh, cut my leg off, yeah.